Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for coming on to our February 2024 Lunchbox session with our topic of your local workforce development board and how it can help with your business. With us today, we have two presenters from the Tri-County Workforce Investment Board. We have Mary Saloni, who is our Executive Director, and Ann Tiger, who is our Career Coordinator. So let me give you a little bit of background on each of these ladies who will be presenting today, and then I will turn things over to you. Mary Saloni is the Executive Director of the Tri-County Workforce Investment Board, Inc. in Butler, Armstrong, and Indiana counties in Pennsylvania. She graduated with a bachelor's and master's degree from Clarion University of Pennsylvania. Mary has over 19 years of workforce development experience and 26 years of nonprofit management experience. Mary provides general administration and oversight of programs and grants funded under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, otherwise known as WIOA. Mary conducts executive level functions related to program administration, operation, planning, and fiscal accountability. Mary has successfully created employer partnerships, incumbent worker training programs, basic employment skills and pre-apprenticeship programs, youth reentry programs, business and education partnerships, and teacher in the workplace programs. Mary specializes in building partnerships with employers and other stakeholders within the workforce system by basing the priorities on the needs of the industry. Mary is dedicated to working with others to build strong partnerships to improve the community and believes strong communication is the key to success. I have some people to admit. Excuse me one second. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Sorry. Okay. Ann Tiger is the Youth Program Manager at the Tri-County Workforce Investment Board, Inc. in Butler, Armstrong, and Indiana counties in Pennsylvania. She graduated from Pennsylvania Western University at Clarion with a bachelor's degree and has experienced, I'm so sorry, everybody. And has experience in a variety of industries, including education, manufacturing, and more. She coordinates career development and awareness with schools in the Tri-County area. She assists in developing stronger relationships between the business and education sectors. And Ann will be working on new projects expanding her role into youth reentry programs and other grants under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, also known as WIOA. All right, ladies, I'm going to turn this over to you, and we will hear about the WIB.
Okay. Well, first of all, good afternoon at this point to everybody. I appreciate that. If you notice, that is a long, drawn-in introduction to us both. I kind of laugh because the way Ann and I wrote those, we both went to Clarion, but it sounds totally different. But according to my LinkedIn page, I did go to Penn West now, so I just want to point that out, that Ann is accurate, and I apparently am old-fashioned. But anyway. So we're going to talk about the workforce development system in Pennsylvania a little bit. So I'm going to start my share screen here. And if anybody has any questions along the way, certainly you're more than welcome to ask. Can you guys see the slide presentation?
Yeah.
Just making sure. Okay. All right. So who we are. We're a local workforce investment board that was originally established under the Workforce Investment Act of 1998. There were predecessors to that. Some of you that have been around might have heard of JTPA, a private industry council, stuff like that. That was all stuff from the past. And then they changed to workforce development boards under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014. So a WIB and a WDB is really the same thing, is what I'm going to tell you. It's just whether you use workforce investment or workforce development. So in the system now, in the state, it is the workforce development system. For us, the WIB is our legal name. So we are a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. we serve Armstrong, Butler, and Indiana counties. Some of the things we do is, we provide key policy decisions about the local workforce development system, and we certify the PA Career Link system, which we'll talk about more later. We also provide these Title I services for adults, youth, and dislocated workers. And the goal of our programs is really to increase employment, retention, earnings, and occupational skill attendance. But what I wanted to show you is that whether you're in our 3 counties or you're anywhere within the state, there's a workforce development area for you. If some of you are housed in Allegheny County, there is, technically it's called the Three Rivers Workforce Board. However, they go under the agency Partner for Work. So some of you have probably heard of Partner for Work. If you happen to be in Beaver County, you're under the Southwest Corner Workforce Board. We all offer the same basic services, but sometimes we have our own flair to them. So if you're on a border kind of area where you're kind of between both counties kind of thing, you may have employees from both counties and actually use more than one board. You may have a school district that you work with. It may be the one closest to you, but it could be in the opposite county that you're in. You never know, kind of thing. So I just wanted to point out this map. There are 23 workforce boards for 22 areas, because technically Pittsburgh is divided by the city of Pittsburgh and the county of Pittsburgh, but they're both under one workforce board, but there's 2 areas. So yes, it's a confusing system when you're all sitting there like, huh. But I just want you to know that there's here. Our contact information is at the end. And if you need any of the other contact information for the other areas, I will be happy to give it to you. You can just send me a quick email. So that'll be how that works. Our mission in Tri-County is to provide responsive and innovative leadership that is meeting the current and future needs of employers and job seekers. The PA Career Link system works with job seekers and employers, but we tend to work a little bit more with the employers, a little bit more with workforce strategy, how to get things in our counties up. When the workforce development system was envisioned originally, it was very local based, which is why you have all these different areas. So, what's going on in Pittsburgh might not be what's going on in Indiana County, or might not be what's going on in Fayette County, or something like that. And that's why we have those strategies to go through there. Just about all of our money is federal money. So the federal money flows through the states. So I'm not going to tell you we have federal regulations, and then we have lots of state regulations that go on top of that. And then we have our local things that we do. Each of us has different special money that we may apply for different grants and those sorts of things, which again, I'll talk about a little bit as we go. The vision of our local area is a destination of choice for employers and job seekers, where existing businesses obviously experience growth. New businesses are eager to locate here because of all the job opportunities, economic vitality, quality of life. All of those things are what we're driven to do. As part of our mission, we are definitely supposed to be working with economic development, education, and all of those different things that kind of go together. So again, what do we do for businesses? We provide labor market information. So we can either show you where to find it at, or we can actually provide you, you're looking at something and you're looking for money, and it wants to know a little bit about your area. So we can feed that. If you need, what are other manufacturers paying within the region? We can show you where the data is for those kinds of things. If you have kids and you want to know, well, they're wanting to look at this career field, is that a hot job, or is that a job that isn't going to go anywhere kind of thing? Or they want to major in poetry, what can they really do with that? Again, we would provide all that kind of information. What's the unemployment rate? Like, how many people are on unemployment that are out there possibly to get jobs or not? We also facilitate connections with employers and industry partnerships. For instance, we have, and I'll talk more about industry partnerships in a minute, but we do have the Butler County Manufacturing Consortium. So that's just one partnership that, again, I have a slide later on. We do career pathway development kind of things. And in other words, we've done a lot of work in our healthcare industry partnership, for instance, on career ladders, and you know that we've done it in manufacturing and IT, but in other words, you might start out as in housekeeping and then move up to, oh, you know what, I want more education and get a certified nursing program. And then you want to move up from that and go into nursing. So you start as an LPN, or better yet, you just decide you don't want to do any of that. You want to be a dental hygienist or something else entirely. So those are the kinds of things. We have a lot of different workforce programs that we can do. So we have incumbent worker training, which means that if you are training your staff, with most of you do anyway, there is funding out there for that. To do a training. We have an application that would be certainly available to you. Again, our fellow WIBs also have these applications. Again, it works slightly different, but when companies are on the border, we more than happily work along. And that does cover all industries. So I do want to point that out. We also have on-the-job training through our PA Career Link system. If you have somebody that you want to hire, if you call right before they're hired, again, you have to teach them a lot of skills that are on the job right away. So those are the kinds of things that we can reimburse. We reimburse up to $10,000 depending on what they still need to learn per person. So again, those are good programs. The people do have to meet eligibility, but they are excellent programs to be part of. This is also where we have some other special funding kind of things that come up. So, you know, you probably heard a lot about the Build Back Better grant that the whole Southwest region got money for. Well, it's for AI and robotics, any field that is incorporating AI and robotics in. So it could be healthcare. You think of manufacturing all the time. It could be an AI company kind of thing. We in Tri-County got $1 million, and ours is dedicated primarily towards incumbent worker training. I mean, there's a little bit in there for some youth activities and some scholarships for people going to local colleges and that sort of thing. But the majority is for companies to help implement the training part of it. So you get a new piece of equipment in and there's training cost to it. We could help reimburse 50% of that. So those are the kinds of things. I do want to point out my fellow WIBs also each got $1 million in the Southwest region of Pennsylvania. So again, if you're not in our county, you can also go to those counties, and certainly they would be more than happy to help you out, without a doubt in the world. So we have a pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. Well, we are not the experts on apprenticeships, and I will not claim to be. We do have the connections to help set those programs up with the state and the Department of Labor and Industry. I guess the neat thing is we do have some money for people in that. Obviously, if you have an apprenticeship program already, that it could be, and you have somebody in it there, that could be an incumbent worker expense. If you're hiring somebody off the street that you're just putting in there, if again, you haven't hired them quite yet, it could be that they get an, we call them training accounts, individual training accounts, to do the classroom section of that training. Or it could be that you get some on-the-job training, since an apprenticeship, you know, puts classroom and work together in a description. So again, there is funding for that, and that's what's important for the businesses. The Business Education Partnership Program, I'm going to turn over to Anne and let her talk about that, and also the youth and young adult things.
Yeah, so the Business Education Partnership largely comes from one of those special grants that we get, and I coordinate that. So that's where I tie into the schools. I try to be a resource to them. So with that grant funding, we offer what we call like mini grant opportunities. So for career awareness activities that teachers, schools themselves are doing with their students, they can apply for a set amount of funds and help cover those big costs like registration, transportation, substitutes, all that good stuff. To get those students out there, get them interested in high priority occupations, which connects back to that labor market information that's under that umbrella. Along with the Business Education Partnership mini grants, I try to spread awareness to all those schools. So my meeting's actually coming up tomorrow, which I have a nice long list of summer camp opportunities, scholarships, career fairs, different events that are going on in the area. I'm not sure what the other WIBs have, but I know that they have people in similar positions to where they understand what's going on in the area and they have that information. With the youth and young adult internships and work experiences, it connects very closely. Get those students, get those young adults out there, get them knowing what's in the area, keep them in our counties, keep them close to home. So if they're interested in trying out something new, if they would like to get involved with work, which I'm a very big advocate for. I think that helps build character, build knowledge, and it all around good for them. So for example, our Title I provider in our area is Career Track. So if they qualify for those programs, they can help them get set up in them, cover the funding, give them a paycheck while they learn. So it's a really great opportunity for them.
Yes. We can't hear
Carrie,
you.
I think you're muted.
I can't
Yep.
unmute myself. Oh, there we go. I couldn't
Yep.
unmute myself. Let me ask a question. I know that you work with businesses and students and school districts within Butler, Indiana, and Armstrong counties. However, if I have someone who's interested in attending school, say in Slippery Rock, that comes from North Allegheny and lives in Allegheny County, is there any tie-in there that you might be able to help with?
You mean they want to go to Slippery Rock University, or do you mean they want to go to Slippery Rock High School?
Slippery Rock University.
Okay.
But they're looking for, and I have a specific in mind here. So someone reached out to me looking for an internship for the summer in a specific field that Slippery Rock University has. And if I could connect them with an employer up near Slippery Rock, would the WIB be able to help get involved with that?
We probably could help find the employer kind of thing, but because of the
Okay.
situation, we probably wouldn't per se be able to offer funding. However, I do know Pittsburgh has a giant internship program, so they may be something they could do.
Okay.
Again, because I don't know that it's usually more focused on where the youth lives at, I guess is what I'm going to say.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure even on the funding side if they would even need, it's more of getting connected with someone that is doing
Yeah.
an internship in that field too.
Yes, yeah. We could help certainly with you. We could both
Okay.
help do that connection of people and help track that down. And if we need phone calls to be made and those sorts of things. So that's part of what we do. I guess somewhere along the line, we probably didn't mention that anywhere, but that is part of what we do is make those connections. So
That's the point I wanted to see. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Yep. And that is kind of part of our whole partnership thing. I mean, you will find out, like, if you become involved in any of our meetings, our board is made up of 29 members that is prescribed by law, but 51% has to be private sector. But then we have to have people from other areas and other things. We try to cover multiple industries. Obviously for us, we have multiple counties to cover kind of thing, but we have somebody from education on it. We have somebody from a community agency on it. Again, it covers the gambit kind of thing so that we can do that kind of stuff and make those connections and coordination. So, all right. The other thing that is a really big service for our area is the PA Career Link system. And, sometimes it has different good and bad things with it, with employers kind of thing. But I do want to talk a little bit about the good things and the good work that they do. They have a lot of services that they just do for employers. And then of course they serve our job seekers. The PA Career Link system is a one-stop system. So it is designed to have partners from all the partner agencies. So for instance, the WIO, a Title I provider that provides those services to adults and dislocated workers and youth that, give them work experiences, give them money for training, all those sorts of things, is a member of that partnership. Rob is on here from OVR. OVR is a big member of that Consortium. So anybody that has any sort of disability can receive help, whether it's an accommodation, whether the employer has questions about how to deal with a disability kind of thing. All of these people have people, but they can also help with information. So that's important. We have housing as part of that. We have, and now I'm going to have to go through all the partners in my head and forget half of them and that, but there are a lot of different people in there. There's veteran affairs stuff in there. In other words, different programs that come to have those partners come together. The Career Link obviously has its online job posting system. We have a quality committee here, and they've been looking into a little bit about, okay, well, we hear about Indeed and we hear about the Career Link. Well, we need to keep in mind the Career Link is totally free for everybody that uses it. This is all paid for with tax dollars, so it's out there, it's free. Sometimes you wonder if you can't find people on it, but sometimes I think you have to learn how to use it. One of the things that we discovered during the quality committee meeting is there's job matching services. And in other words, you can actually have the Career Link like go look for people for you. And I think you can learn to do that function yourself. We found out that a lot of the temp agencies use the Career Link system to go look for people. One temp agency in another county, not this one, because I don't want to, not the counties this group covers, but I specifically, they were actually hounding the Career Link so much for one of the employers that happens to be on our board. And that, it's like, you can just use us for nothing instead of hiring the temp agency to do the work and then pay for it. And then in this case, use it. Now, in today's world, you probably have to use multiple sources. I'm not going to tell you that. But I guess I'm just saying you have to be careful what you look for, what you do. We will have people that, we have welfare to work programs. We will have people OVR that will actually go out and, try to say, hey, we have this group of employees and they have these skills. But we also have a lot of other people that just like they join Indeed, they join, they join Monster, they join them all. So you know how that goes. So again, it's a good system. You can go on there, you can register as an employer. It is a really neat thing to do. And the list of stuff that they have that they can do for different businesses is very nice. It's a nice setup. But obviously recruitment is one of the issues of all business today. It's the focus of everything. So that is a good place to go. So. All right, industry partnerships. You can't have an industry partnership for everything. But in our 3 counties, we have identified some that we have decided. But industry partnerships are partnerships of business folks that have come together and decide to work together. And it's kind of about their community and about what they can do for their community and their field and their industry. So usually there's public partners on it from economic development, the chamber, and obviously us and the Career Link, the educators. But the leaders of this group really are the employers. And I want to point that out because sometimes in the past that hasn't always happened. And I've worked with our partnerships here since 2005, and I've kept them employer strong so that whatever we do is what the employers want to do. So for example, engagement is a big deal for that. So we have 4 partnerships currently. We have manufacturing and healthcare, which are honestly are 2 of the biggest industries in our 3 counties. We have technology, which obviously is a very high paying, very good industry. And then we had in need in Indiana County actually has brought it up first for agriculture. So we just started that in the last year. We have belonged to regional partnerships in transportation and with gas and oil and some of those different ones. It is interesting to me that most of the partnerships that have stayed within the state are ones that have a little more of a local focus. Some of those other ones have come and gone, and they were good partnerships. But again, people care about their community and working within their community. So different things happen at these partnerships. The agriculture one is talking about setting up an ag day and doing things. The technology consortium is planning on April 1st at the Regional Learning Alliance to have a seminar in cybersecurity. Healthcare has done everything from recognition events to health fairs, to career fairs, to scholarships, to everything under the sun. Again, a lot of career pathway work. They do a lot of training as part of these partnerships. There's a lot of shared training that happens. So for instance, we survey out all the employers every year. We find out what training that they need and topics, and then you procure these out. So I have things out for healthcare that makes sense for healthcare. They wanted something on IV training. Well, that makes sense because that's what they do. That's exactly it. Manufacturing, that they're going to do leadership and management. They have an appraisal thing performance appraisals that they want to do, some CNC training. So we ask for that out and then we can procure it. And then a lot of it is paid with grant funds and it's very low cost training. So again, those are some of the things we do. As an example, one though, I was going to pick out actually the manufacturing consortium. And obviously they have a lot of speakers. So, sometimes they talk about best practices. There have been things at those meetings on onboarding. They have had speakers in about truly everything from A to Z. I mean, the supply chain, legislative things. We've had legislative days and that sort of thing. A lot of times we do talk about the legislative impact. So if you do have a legislative day or a speaker that talks about that, we have discussed those sorts of things. We had somebody in one of our groups that was on the state small business, like environmental protection thing. And so he would always tell us the latest things that are going on and that is going to affect manufacturing. We also do a lot of education and training. And then Butler Manufacturing has done a lot with the schools. So actually, I'm going to turn it back over to Ann so she can talk about the couple exciting things with that. So
Yeah. So one of the things I coordinate with our schools, we call it the Butler County Student Advisory Board. So I work with manufacturers to get students in 11th and 12th grade to go out and see these manufacturers. And these students are comprised of students that are attending our Butler County Area Vocational Technical School and students that are attending just the regular public school. Some of them are interested in the field of manufacturing, but the vast majority aren't. We have one student who is in the health assistant program, a couple of the HVAC program students. So we've got a wide variety of them, and we get them out there. They tour the facility, they talk to the people that are working there, and they get a good feel for what the business itself is, and they get to see the vast differences that are in the industry itself, because what they originally think of as manufacturing isn't what the field is. There's so much variety and they don't know that it's out there in their own backyards. So that's really exciting. That's been going on all year, and that kind of wraps up in what is really a career fair event that will be holding again this April. We partner with the Manufacturer Businesses Association. And we bring those students from the Student Advisory Board in. They sit on a panel and they tell all the manufacturers that show up, manufacturers and any other employers or businesses that come to the event, and they give them their true, honest feedback, and that you get to hear from the mouths of students of, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I liked, this is what was interesting, this is how you get this next generation of students, this next generation of workers. So you can adapt and change right there, right from our backyard, and you hear it from the people that are living in your community. And then there's the career fair for it. So students come and they walk through and they get to hear about opportunities for employment, if any have apprenticeships that are available, or even after school employment. So that's super exciting. We're still planning that, and information will be out on our website soon about that. So, but that is very unique. And from the meetings that I sit on with the manufacturing consortium, they're super supportive of it. The businesses, the manufacturers themselves love seeing the students, and it's a great opportunity for everyone involved.
all right. I'm going to show you something else. I mean, I'm going to talk just a minute about, just so you know. Hold on. Get it to go to the next slide. It won't go. Oh, no, went back the other way. Okay, there is our information here, but I am actually going to take you to our website so that if anybody has any questions at all, please, I mean, call us, email us, do whatever you want with that. But I am actually going to share a different screen with you now. So. And I hadn't planned on doing this. Do you see our website now? Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually planned on doing this because we are in the middle of redesigning our website. So hopefully when you pull this up in May or June, it will be totally looking different. But what I wanted to point out to you is that we do have a lot of scholarship options here that the consortium do. So for instance, we will have one that actually we pay for with grant money that are tuition awards for people going into nursing. But one of the things you can see up here is that the Armstrong Healthcare Consortium has a scholarship up here. So in other words, it's available here in those applications. So you kind of have to check back every so often. We have a manufacturing one that is for the manufacturers in Indiana County and for the schools. We have our career and resource fair that's a little more focused on healthcare that's going to be held April 10th. So we have the flyer up here for that. So I guess what I'm pointing out is our website's always a good place to go to find out what's going on, what's the thing. There's a little bit of information on here that the only thing I hesitate is I want to update it. So I want to say that, but you can always under the latest news find out what the events are. You can join, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. You can find out some different information about workforce development too, because the Center for Information and Analysis has so much data and labor market information on that usually we get calls on, okay, where do I go on this site now? This is great, but what do I do with it? So we do those kinds of things. So I'm pointing it out because again, it is a good place to go. It's just tricountywib.org. If you put in Tri-County WIB, you'll come up with ours, but you also might come up with one in Maine. So that's okay. Just make sure you're in the right state. Kind of thing. But the idea with this is, to talk about a little bit about, we're done with all this, is to talk about how we can share and how you guys can be involved. First of all, as an employer, you can be involved in different ways. We have many boards and committees that you are more than welcome to be on. The business education group that meets, kind of thing. We always want more employers on it. The schools usually make time for it, but the employers have a hard time sometimes simply because they're going somewhere else. They got something else to do. That's not anybody's fault. They plan to be on it. They have something else on. So you're always welcome to join that. If you have a burning interest, our board members are appointed by the county commissioners. However, again, if you want to get involved, certainly tell your local workforce board, and I'm sure they will pass it up the chain, kind of thing. Obviously, if you want to join an industry partnership or you want to get involved in other discussion or you find out that there's a real need for something, again, come to us and we can help, facilitate all of those things. If you want to volunteer your company on the opposite side to host events, to host, a group of students somewhere, to have an internship, all of those fun things. Those are other ways you can get involved with our activities. And, you could contact Anne and just say that, hey, you know what, I'd like to host a group of students. I'd like to sponsor this. I'd like to go that direction. I mean, there are all kinds of programs out there. Or, hey, I just don't know what I want to do, but I want to talk to the local high school that's in my area. We could give you the people that you need to talk to. Some of the things we're, finding successful with, people finding employees is when they've already developed some of those relationships. So, a lot of you are obviously active here, which means you probably have developed a lot of good relationships, but that's just still something you have to keep in mind that unfortunately that's the way we get everything done here and out of things. So we run into a lot of people, a lot of things. And do you have things to add?
That's pretty much the gist. Yeah. Everyone on either side of it is always looking for people that are interested in either hearing about it or speaking. So if you want to be involved, there's always a lot of opportunity.
And I will say, I mean, again, the two things that seem to be the themes that we hear from employers, but again, you may be different, is recruitment and retention. So, you know, we can't help completely with any of them, but we can help a little bit with some of it. So, you know, for, you know, retention kind of ideas, you know, I know everybody wants more money, but I'm sure you're finding, like we're finding, that that's not always the answer kind of thing. So, you know, we've been, for our own organization, even looking at employee appreciation things. But again, there is funding here for training, which again, if you invest in employees, people feel like they're better treated and that they're there. If they get to be involved in something like hosting, you know, a group of students or something like that, sometimes they feel that they're giving back to the community. Uh, those are the kinds of things that, we do the healthcare consortium, we do a, recognition event every year for them because they felt like that was important because that was an employee recognition, which again goes back to the retention issue. So I do highly recommend the PA Career Link as a recruitment tool. It may work better for one person than another, but it is an excellent tool. And truly, when they know that you're looking for people there, they try to, put that up there. And when they're talking to real people that, hey, this is, an issue. That's the difference with the PA Career Link. Um, uh, it is. It's the difference between the Career Link and a lot of other places is we actually, have talked with the people. The online services, everything's online. It's wonderful, but we actually have people. Rob just wrote in the chat a really good thing about OVR being a longtime partner, and we strongly encourage our customers with disability and business partners to get connected to the Career Link. We do the same. I mean, anytime with our industry partnerships, somebody gets incumbent worker training, we really definitely do that. So you see, you wanted a copy of the slides. Yes, you absolutely can have a copy of the slides. So
I think at this time we can just open up microphones if anyone wants to ask Ann and Mary any questions. Could be specific, could be general. I know we have several Butler County businesses on here. I know our legislative and economic development chair, Kathleen, is on here as well, which she may have some information that she might want to ask or provide based on some of the work that the chamber is doing. So we'll just open up everything, and if somebody would like to discuss some stuff, that'd be great. We have the time.
Mary, this is Jeff Grant. You had said that you have, there seems to be scholarship money, for instance, in nursing with most WIBs. Would a person, say from Allegheny County, wanting to go to nursing school in Erie County, apply to the WIB in Allegheny or apply to the WIB in Erie?
well, again, everybody does stuff a little different with the scholarship money. I mean, if there's training money, again, they might be qualified for different things. If they qualify as part of one of our programs through Title I in the Career Link system, again, they could possibly get an ITA, and then they just go to one of the Allegheny Career Links, County Career Links, and then they could go to college anywhere as long as it's on the eligible training provider list. If it's a scholarship opportunity, we have not, in our area, we have not limited where people are going to school at. So for instance, in our 3 counties, yes, we have nursing schools here, but we have paid for somebody to go to nursing, over the border in some other county, kind of thing. Because again, what's important is to get nurses in our area. I will say too that the Southwest PA region workforce boards work very well together. We recognize that while we have our own individual labor markets, really we're also all part of the big county area that's Southwestern PA in the Pittsburgh region, and we do understand that. So we actually, I'm working actually because of Armstrong County. There's a new company that moved into Westmoreland, and we're having monthly meetings about what we can do for that company and what we can offer them as they're hiring people and on the job training and all of those sorts of activities. And again, we're just making it work. It doesn't matter that they're in that county or not in that county. What matters is, in that case, we're helping them because we want our citizens to be as employed as, Westmoreland, I mean, in other words, they need to draw from wherever they draw it. So.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure. The scholarships are offered under industry partnership funding too. And again, everybody does something a little different with their industry partnership funding. Our folks have always wanted to, really, do local things with it and that sort of thing. Again, different counties are aimed differently, because I know in Pittsburgh you have big health systems that have competed with it all. And I know that they've worked on some apprenticeship stuff down there. They have worked with the system as a whole, coming up with creative ideas and looking at, well, what does a beginning person in nursing or CNAs or something like that take versus another industry like banking or something like that. Because again, they're working with a different group. We work with a lot of mid and medium sized, and small sized businesses in our area. So we take a different approach, and we, believe it or not, still have 3 independent hospitals in our 3 counties. And I guess that's kind of changed a little bit, because in Cranberry, obviously there is a UPMC branch, and there's also in Butler joined with Excella, obviously. So that's slightly different than it was, but the point still stands that they're not necessarily with the big 2 that we all talk about, kind of thing. So again, we have to approach it differently. So.
So, hey, I'm the aforementioned legislative chair that Carrie was talking about. Happy Valentine's Day. I think Carrie and I put the red on to celebrate, to acknowledge we all love you. But thank you so much for all this great information. And as somebody had asked, I think it was Jeff Krantz, and I agreed, if we could get a copy of your slides, it would be great to keep that information at forefront. Also, the workforce development video project we have for the legislative committee really does focus on practices for retaining and recruiting employees. And I would like to know if you ladies would be considered for me to interview you on that subject matter, to get delve a little more in-depthly for the legislative committee and to be more information to our members. I know this video will be available for our members to be educated on, but this would kind of really hone in on those issues that we're focusing on the legislative committee. Would that be a possibility?
It would be for me. I'll let Ann speak for herself. So,
okay, that's fine.
If we could get the questions ahead of time.
Oh, yes, I would send that questions
again,
at a time,
I'll
and
have the,
work out how you want to answer them. Yeah, we do it all, and it's very simple. And
career link
I'm
list.
fun, so we can have fun with the videos. I would appreciate. Yeah, we'll get the questions beforehand and work it out. I think this would fit nicely into the niche of what we're exploring in the legislative committee. So I appreciate it. Thank you for this educational opportunity. I really appreciate it.
And we are always willing to come back and do more in-depth things too. Like if you just want to talk about incumbent worker training, because I can come back and discuss the application and talk about what we look for and why we're looking. I can go into a lot more depth. I could work with the PA Career Link, because of course, people that work with these things themselves do the better explanation of it. We charter, we monitor, we do that kind of stuff. But the people that do this work are wonderful. They really truly are. And they do so much time and effort, and they really know our communities well. So again, I can always schedule something like that too, or do a joint thing of how we're connected kind of thing in that. So I just want you all to know that whatever you need, we would be happy to do. So.
Anyone else have some questions? No? All right. Oh, go ahead, Ann.
Well, actually, I got one more. Something we were going to talk about, being that you are Butler, Armstrong, and Indiana, where a lot of the population, of course, is in the greater Pittsburgh area. Do you guys focus on anything with regards to transportation? Because where people live are not necessarily, they don't have a way of means of getting themselves transported out to where some of these jobs may be available. Is there anything that you do dealing with that or not? Just out of curiosity.
I have to tell you, transportation and childcare are the 2 big issues that we all struggle with. If you're in training and you're in our programs, and again, it depends on the program. I'm just going to say that it does depend on the program. Have we solved the issue as a whole? I'm not going to tell you we have, but if you are in certain programs and for training, if you start an OJT, we can often help, with like gas cards to get you started. Or if you're on a bus line, we can help with bus cards, kind of thing. If you're in the welfare to work program, they can get transportation, they can get a car or money towards a car. from the county assistance office. However, it isn't a lot of money for what cars are costing nowadays, especially since the pandemic. So so that's not as much as it was. I know I believe there was a program through the Lighthouse in Butler County that also helps. So again, we partner with community agencies when we can do that. But is there an easy answer where we can do everything? Commute info, you all know about that through, thing. It's the same, and it really is the same old thing. For childcare, we refer people to our local, providers and those sorts of things, but there is no easy way, sadly. So we do try to get creative, but again, I mean, there's been groups meeting about the transportation issues.
You're doing so much. I just wondered if there was even something you could even touch upon or even sort of think about and touch about. So
Right.
thank you. I realize, yeah, you're not going to solve we're all been trying to solve this problem for years, but just wondering what would
We
be.
do keep trying. Because
Yeah.
we have talked, I know Butler has talked about having buses run, to the hotels in Cranberry Township and that sort of thing, to try to get the workers. But again, there's no easy answers and they all cost money. And that's the bottom line. And I hate saying that, but it's true. But at least with some of our stuff, we try to do something so that if people can get a paycheck for a while, they can go in, or if they need to pay gas or pay their friend who's driving them somewhere for a month, kind of thing, till they start making some money. But again, I can't tell you that there's some easy way. So we can pay. I think there was a couple cases where we can pay for car repairs too. That's another thing, because sometimes people have cars sitting around that there's something wrong with and they haven't been able to get. We do help people get driver's licenses, because one of the things we're finding out in our young adult population is that, because I do refer to youth, and yeah, we work with K through 12, but there's a special mission for us to work with the 18 to 24-year-olds also, so that we can do those sorts of things. And it's surprising how many people don't drive as much as you think they would. So a lot of the schools have stopped teaching that. So therefore, if they don't have a strong family life, it's just they don't automatically learn it like they used to. So because you need that support and hours and all those sorts of things. So so it is kind of interesting. We also have a young adult re-entry program. So for people that had any issue with the law at all, and that can be anything from something very serious where they actually spent some time incarcerated to they had sadly a drug issue, to they had a DUI. I mean, one of those kinds of things that's important, but not not horrible as far as those things are concerned, as far as it is horrible. But I just mean vandalism, things that they should not have done, but as a child indiscretion that that they learn of, and that kind of thing, and they know it was a mistake and they move forward for it. So we do have a federal bonding program that you can get access to through the PA Career Link, so that if somebody has you're taking a chance on somebody that is had a theft kind of problem kind of thing, that you can get bonded for that for 6 months, so that you have protection against that. So that's the kind of stuff that we try to tell employers about, and the things that can be done. So
Excellent. We even
I
got
had-
more information. Oh, someone else would like to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna make a comment. First of all, Mary and Ann, great job. And Mary, I think this is the
Thanks,
first time
Rob.
I've seen you. I've talked to you
I
on the
know.
phone a bunch of times, but I don't think I've ever met
we
you in
worked
person.
together for years, literal years.
But you guys do we do a lot of the same things that you guys do at
Yes, you
CareerLink,
do.
and you mentioned the on-the-job training wage
Yes.
reimbursement. And my colleague Jeff Seabury would always talk about how we can stack our OJTs with yours. Like if a company hires a person and they happen to have a disability and they're connected with OVR, CareerLink can start off with their OJT, and then when that is done, then OVR can stack another OJT on top of that, where we can reimburse wages. So, and as you guys know, Mary and Ann, that employers can use that money for any way they want, reinvest in the company and so forth.
That's what I always tell people. I know you guys have training budgets, but keep in mind, if you get reimbursed for some of that training, then you get to spend that money on something else. So that's a very good point, Rob. So very good point. So that is always, you might have the position budgeted for, but then you've got reimbursed, so now you can do what you want with it. So Yeah, Rob really does a lot of neat things with folks with disabilities too. So, and I think people don't even realize sometimes that they have people that have a disability. You don't think about it. I know, for example, that this was a few years back, but we had somebody here that was deaf in one ear. I didn't even know it. You know what I mean? But eventually, I mean, she didn't keep it a secret. I just didn't know it. It didn't matter to me. But again, and eventually it's like, well, do you need accommodations kind of thing? And, you know, because you hear from the staff and then you realize there's just little things you can do to make it easier. Like when you talk to them and where you look at them and don't keep your, you know, mouth hidden and stuff like that, you know, you don't think about because you didn't know. So, I mean, there's a lot of neat things that can be done and training that can be done for employers that, you know, aren't really sure on stuff. And
Yeah, good point, Mary. Most disabilities that we work with are not obvious. It's not all
no,
people think, you know.
yeah.
It's we work with people who have we use wheelchairs and things like that, but that's probably a small percentage of people we serve. So
Well, and I recently had a young lady move in we're trying to graduate from high school, and she told me, oh, OVR offered to help get a job, you know, at some point in the last year or so, I guess, before she moved in with us. And I hadn't should have thought of it, but I didn't think of it because I didn't think of her as somebody with a disability kind of thing, if that makes any sense. And so, you know, I mean, I was like, well, that's really good because, you know, that might be the better way to go. Maybe our young adult youth program will be the better way to go. Maybe both will be the better way to go eventually, kind of thing. Or maybe she'll be lucky enough to find a job sometime. But my point being is there are all kinds of neat things you can do and all kinds of things that again, OVR can do for you that you don't think about.
thanks, Mary.
Sure. Thank you.
Wonderful tie-in. Again, thank you all. We do have more time if we need it. If anybody else wants to ask another question, but if not, we can sign off as well. So any last chance going on? All right. Mary and Ann, thank you so much for being here with us. I know I have some follow-up things with you that I'm thinking about that I wasn't aware of. I knew some of the great services that you did, but you guys took it to the next level with providing information and resources. So I will definitely be following up. I will get those slides distributed to those who would like to have those. So if you want to just reach out to me, I will be the middleman, and I can also get you Mary and Ann's contact information in case you didn't get a chance to get that jotted down.
Yep, and I will send the slides like immediately when we get off of here. So
that's great. Wonderful. All right. Thank you everyone for taking time out of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. So we definitely did spread the love today to our employers with everything that the WIB can offer. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
thank you very much.